Okay, I think I'm recording. And we're gonna make another bedtime video because it's my bedtime and I'm getting all snuggly ready for bed. I have a puppy dog down here. He's trying to jump up here. Maybe someday he'll make it and you can see him. His name is Zeus. There he is. He likes to sit with me. Hold on, let me see if I can get him to jump up here. You wanna see? Come on, puppy. Come on. Jump up here. Come on. Here he comes. Come on. He needs a lot of encouragement because it's really high and it scares him. You want to come up here? Do you want me to help you? I can help him. Come on. Do you want to get there? Ugh, go away then. He's just being a hassle. All right. He might bark again, but let's get cozy for bed. All right. I have my pajamas on. These are my Snoopy winter pajamas because I got this shirt for my daughter, but then she decided she didn't want it anymore, so now I get to wear it. So it reminds me of her because she loves Snoopy, and it reminds me of my mom because my mom lives in the same place as the creator of Snoopy. So when I visit her, there's Snoopy everywhere. So my cozy pajama shirt on, snuggly blanket, pillows. I'm going to get a Curious George book next. I don't have any right now, so I have to go to the library. I don't have as many books as I used to. I got rid of some. And I still feel like I have a little bit of wiggles inside, so I'm going to work some of my wiggles out. If you feel like you might have a little bit of wiggles inside, you can do this too if you want. Big breath. Move my neck a little. I collect all of my wiggles, then I send them out my arms because it's bedtime. All right. Today I'm going to read one of my favorite books, Amelia Bedelia. Amelia Bedelia is very silly and very funny, and so even though she's silly and funny, we're going to read her in our bedtime story voice. So this book is called Amelia Bedelia. It was written by Peggy Parrish, and the pictures were by Fritz Siebel. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but here she is. Look how cute she is. Here's the first picture of her. Oh, I love her. Here's some more pictures of her just so you can get to know her because there's a lot of Amelia Bedelia books, and so I'll be reading them to you. This is the first Amelia Bedelia book. We're going to learn all about her in this book. And then in all the other books, we get to see all of her wild adventures that she does. Here she is. There's Amelia Bedelia. And here in the car, we have Mr. and Mrs. Rogers and their cute little puppy dog. Look at Mrs. Rogers' hand. She's waving out the window. Goodbye. This is their big fancy house, and Amelia Bedelia is the cleaning lady, or sometimes called the maid. Oh, Amelia Bedelia, your first day of work, and I can't be here for you, but I made a list for you. You do just what the list says, said Mrs. Rogers. Mrs. Rogers got into the car with Mr. Rogers, and they drove away. So what does Amelia Bedelia have to do? Just what the list says. Here Amelia Bedelia walks in. She sees their beautiful house. They got flowers and pictures, and there's the list. I'm still figuring my fingers out. There's the list from Mrs. Rogers. And then here's Amelia Bedelia just walking in. She says, "My, what nice folks. I'm going to like working here," said Amelia Bedelia. Amelia Bedelia went inside. Such a grand house. These must be rich folks. But I must get to work. Here I stand just looking, and me with a whole list of things to do. Amelia Bedelia stood there a minute longer. I think I'll make a surprise for them. I'll make lemon meringue pie. I do make good pies. There she is in their grand house. Grand can mean fancy or big. here she is. So Amelia Bedelia went into the kitchen. She put a little of this and a pinch of that into a bowl. She mixed and she rolled. Soon her pie was ready to go into the oven. There, said Amelia Bedelia, that's done. There she is. So cute. Now let's see what this list says. Change the towels in the green bathroom. Amelia Bedelia found the green bathroom. Those towels are very nice. Why change them, she thought. Then Amelia Bedelia remembered what Mrs. Rogers had said. She must do just what the list told her. Well, all right, said Amelia Bedelia. Amelia Bedelia got some scissors. She snipped a little here and a little there, and she changed the towels. Do you think that's what she was supposed to do when she was told to change the towels? Cut them? There, said Amelia Bedelia. She looked at her list again. Dust the furniture. Did you ever hear tell such a silly thing? At my house we undust the furniture. But to each his own. Amelia Bedelia took one last look at the bathroom. She saw a big box with the words dusting powder on it. Well, look at that, a special powder to dust with, exclaimed Amelia Bedelia. So Amelia Bedelia dusted the furniture. That should be dusty enough. My, how nice it smells. So Amelia Bedelia was told to dust the furniture, which means to get the dust off. But instead, she took this powder that's supposed to be put on faces and she put it all over the furniture, jumping around on the furniture with her clothes and her shoes on, like knocking pictures sideways. Oh, I missed a page. Draw the drapes when the sun comes in. That's the next instruction, read Amelia Bedelia. She looked up. The sun was coming in. Amelia Bedelia looked at the list again. Draw the drapes? That's what it says. I'm not much of a hand at drawing, but I'll try. So Amelia Bedelia sat right down and she drew those drapes. When somebody says to draw the drapes, it also means to close the drapes so that the sun doesn't ruin the furniture. Amelia Bedelia marked off about the drapes. Now what? Put the lights out when you finish the living room. So Amelia Bedelia thought about it a minute. She switched off the lights, then she carefully unscrewed each bulb. And Amelia Bedelia put the lights out. So those things need to be aired out too? Just like pillows and babies. Oh, I do have a lot to learn. My pie, exclaimed Amelia Bedelia. She hurried to the kitchen. Oh, I think I may have missed a page again. My pages are kind of sticky. Oh no, I didn't. My pie, exclaimed Amelia Bedelia. She hurried to the kitchen. Just right, she said. She took the pie out of the oven and put it on the table to cool. Then she looked at the list. Measure 2 cups of rice. That's next, said Amelia Bedelia. Amelia Bedelia found 2 cups, and she filled them with rice. And Amelia Bedelia measured that rice. Can you see her? What they want her to do is to put 2 cups of rice into a container. What she's doing instead is seeing how big it is. That's not very helpful. Amelia Bedelia laughed. These folks do want me to do funny things. Then she poured the rice back into the container. She wasn't supposed to put it back. The meat market will deliver a steak and a chicken. Please trim the fat before you put the steak into the icebox, and please dress the chicken. When the meat arrived, Amelia Bedelia opened the bag. She looked at the steak for a long time. Yes, she said, that'll do nicely. So she was told to trim the fat, which means to cut the fat off of the meat, and to dress the chicken, which is like to get it ready, put stuffing inside and spices on it. Let's see what she does instead. Amelia Bedelia got some lace and bits of ribbon, and Amelia Bedelia trimmed that fat before she put the steak in the icebox. She's getting lace and ribbons. Now I must dress the chicken. I wonder if she wants a he chicken or a she chicken, said Amelia Bedelia. Amelia Bedelia went right to work. Soon the chicken was finished. She's making clothes for the chicken. Oh, here's the next picture. I'm going to figure out my camera. There we go. Amelia Bedelia heard the door open. The folks are back, she said. She rushed out to meet them. Amelia Bedelia, why are all the light bulbs outside? Asked Mr. Rogers. There they are. With their cute little puppy. The list just said to put the lights out, said Amelia Bedelia. It didn't say to bring them back in. Oh, I do hope they didn't get aired out too long. Here's this lady. She does not look happy. Amelia Bedelia, the sun will fade the furniture. I asked you to draw the drapes, said Mrs. Rogers. I did. See, said Amelia Bedelia, and she held up her picture. See how she drew them? Then Mrs. Rogers saw the furniture. The furniture, she cried. Did I dust it well enough? Asked Amelia Bedelia. That's such a nice dusting powder. Look at this lady. She's got her hands thrown up. Here's the next picture. Mr. Rogers went to wash his hands. I say, he called, these are very unusual towels. Mrs. Rogers dashed to the bathroom. Oh, my best towels, she said. Didn't I change them enough? Asked Amelia Bedelia. Mrs. Rogers went to the kitchen. I'll cook the dinner. Where's the rice I asked you to measure? I put it back in the container, but I remember it measured 4.5 inches, said Amelia Bedelia. She wasn't supposed to do any of that. Was the meat delivered? Asked Mrs. Rogers. Yes, said Amelia Bedelia. I trimmed the fat just like you said. It does look nice. Mrs. Rogers rushed to the icebox. She opened it. Lace ribbons! Oh, dear. Look at the steak. The chicken? You dressed the chicken? Asked Mrs. Rogers. That chicken is the cutest thing I've ever seen, said Amelia Bedelia. Box! Exclaimed Mrs. Rogers. Mrs. Rogers hurried over to the box. She lifted the lid, and there lay the chicken. And he was just as dressed as he could be. Mrs. Rogers was angry. She was very angry. She opened her mouth. Mrs. Rogers meant to tell Amelia Bedelia that she was fired, but before she could get the words out, Mr. Rogers put something in her mouth. It was so good, Mrs. Rogers forgot about being angry. What do you think it was? Lemon meringue pie, she exclaimed. I made it to surprise you, said Amelia Bedelia happily. So right then and there, Mr. and Mrs. Rogers decided that Amelia Bedelia must stay, and so she did. Mrs. Rogers learned to say, undust the furniture, unlight the lights, close the drapes, and things like that. Mr. Rogers didn't care if Amelia Bedelia trimmed all of his steaks with lace. All he cared about was having her there to make lemon meringue pie. There she is. That's Amelia Bedelia. All right, let's do one more wiggle, get our wiggles out before bed, okay? Big breath. Tell all your wiggles. It's time to go to bed. You can shake them out. Tell them that we'll come back tomorrow. All right. I hope that you sleep tight I love you. I hope you have a great day tomorrow and that you get all kinds of good sleep tonight. Mwah. Night.